Good morning. This morning we're gonna jump. Oh, sorry guys. I have my hat on this morning. Sorry about that because I am in the middle of anything that can go wrong in your house will go wrong in your house. So I got back to Tennessee this week from DC, and it's been I'm in the middle of a home repair nightmare. So apologize for having my hat on. I've got work to do as soon as we're done here. But hey, listen, thanks for joining me this morning. Today's topic actually came from you, from those of you who watch these videos, and you reach out to me afterwards with questions. As a matter of fact, this today's topic came from multiple people who had the same question. How do I stand out at work? How do I stand out in my industry? And what I love about this topic is it came from two people in two totally separate industries who don't know each other, who are in very different places in their career. Nonetheless, they both were kind of thinking the same thing. So I loved the conversation. Actually, one of those folks who reached out to me with this question, I have a call with that person after this video. So we're going to jump in this morning to talking about how you stand out at work and how you differentiate yourselves from others. Now, let me make a point that always comes up when I address this topic. This is not about competition and, kind of self promotion. I know people are uncomfortable with that. I know you're uncomfortable with that because you told me this is not about that. This is about how you stand out, how you identify your differentiators that set you apart from others. And you guys have heard me say this is what you bring to the table. Are these 7 tips that are going to help you excel and stand out in your career? So, grab a pen and paper. I'm going to give you a minute to do that while I grab my own iPad and get ready to walk through these 7 steps. And I'm just going to switch over to here so that I do not have graphics this morning because, like I said, I have been in home repair nightmare, almost said a different word, home repair nightmare. So we're just going to write on the screen this morning. And no judging. My handwriting is the handwriting of a serial killer. So no judging. How do I know that? Because I used to study them when I was going to be a prosecutor. So no judging on my handwriting this morning. This is called delivering value and content and helping you on your journey and juggling multiple things at the same time. So I'm just going to jump into the 7 steps, these 7 tips, and we're going to write on the screen. And I see some comments are coming in, and we'll get to those as well. So, all right, I bought you some time. You got your pen and paper now. Of course, you can always go back and watch this on the replay. And look, let me make one disclaimer about this topic this morning. The disclaimer is I'm going to go through these 7 proven steps. I've used them, others have used them. But here's what I want to say. Just like the person I have a call with in 25 minutes, these are 7 tips that will help you excel, that will differentiate you from others and help you stand out. But for me to actually coach you through your individual situation or to give you advice, you kind of got to get on my calendar like the person did yesterday, who I have a call with today. It's that link. Sorry, I'm pointing. It's the connect.cicely.me. Look, it's a free call. It's a few minutes of a call, and I'm happy to offer advice. It's free. I'm happy to answer questions. That's what the person's doing here in a few minutes when we hop on the phone and I answer their questions about how to stand out in their industry because they have a very specific situation they asked me about. The person I had coffee with last week in DC, same thing. Wanted to talk through, here's where I am, here's what I'm doing. Now give me the advice. So these 7 steps this morning are the 7 steps, but for me to go a level deeper and apply them to your particular situation, you may want to get on my calendar at connect.cicely.me and let's have a conversation about your particular situation. So that's my disclaimer. Okay, we're jumping into the 7 tips this morning. Like I said, please no judging on the handwriting. I know I'm going to get a comment, so it's okay. All right, number 1. The first tip, believe it or not, it's you. You are your superpower. I want you to write down that statement. You are your superpower. You are. And you know, if you've watched these videos, you all know, and my coaching clients know this as well, the first place I start with any conversation is you. What do you bring to the table that no one else can? And you can, here's the thing, no one ever answers that question when I ask it, because I've got to help you peel back the layers to answer that question and identify your unique value, because it is so unique to you. But you are your own superpower. So understanding your value, understanding what sets you apart. I just read somebody's LinkedIn profile this morning. The person, listen, they have all the tactical accomplishments they've done. There's nothing about their personal value. So, what sets you apart? Why do I want to hire you? How do you stand out in your industry? It is your unique differentiators. It is you. You are the common denominator and you are the superpower. So, it's your value, your personal brand is what you always want to lead with when it comes to standing out in your field, at work, a great presentation, whatever that may be. It all comes down to you. You are your superpower. Number two, and I see comments are coming in. I'm going to get to those. I haven't seen comments about my handwriting yet, so that's good. Number two is mindset. Two pieces here. Now, you guys know I have a mindset formula that I teach. I've shared it in these videos before. But here's the thing about your mindset, and it's part of the you piece that's number one. Because to be able to actually talk about your unique value, you got to get over the mindset hump. This is not about everybody else. This is about you. And if you want to stand out, you have to have a growth mindset and a learner's mindset. Both of those are what's going to help you excel. Now, let me walk through each of those, because a learner's mindset is you are intellectually curious for information. You're constantly reading about your company. You're constantly learning how to do your job better. So often we get in our jobs, we get comfortable, we start going through the motions, and we expect the heavens are going to open up and all the promotions in the world are going to come our way. But we're not up to date on what's going on. We have no idea what's going on in our industry. We don't have a learner's mindset where we're actually doing the work to get better and grow. And look, with a plethora of information available to you right now with, the Google machine or Siri or Alexa, and I just said Siri's going to go off. Crap. Siri's going to go off in a minute. It always happens. But you have so much information available to you. To have that learner's mindset is absolutely key. It's why when I did the video a couple of weeks ago and we talked about turning chaos into opportunity, the very fundamental premise there, which leads to the growth mindset, is that you challenge status quo thinking. You can't challenge status. Listen, that is the way to truly skyrocket. You want to stand out. That, and I'm going to get to that again in a moment. That is spot on. I mean, that is the singular piece that will skyrocket your career. But to challenge status quo thinking, to have a learner's mindset and a growth mindset, you absolutely you absolutely have to understand the value of knowing your craft, knowing your role, knowing your information. Because when you challenge status quo thinking, you got to be able to back it up. What this is your recommendation, and this is why. So that requires a level of work, curiosity, studying, understanding trends, but also understanding the fundamentals of bringing a growth and learner's mindset to your job at anything that you do. And I would say do that for anything you do, but certainly if you want to stand out, that mindset piece is key. You have to follow the mindset formula that I've given you all in these videos before. Number three. Number three, I'm gonna shorten this to P&A. Just because my handwriting is atrocious, I don't want to write it all out. P&A. P&A is proactive and anticipatory. Anticipatory and being proactive are, again, they're superpowers that you may already develop. The person I talked to on Friday already had it. That person, he just wanted me to understand and help him kind of flesh it out more. When you're proactive and anticipatory, you are a value add to your company, to your job, to your boss, to anybody around you, because now you've done the work, you have the right mindset. Now you're using that to anticipate problems. Anticipate trends. You're being proactive. You're being proactive and actually handling problems before they exist. I have someone in my coaching program right now who does this, is freaking phenomenal at doing this, and is constantly getting compliments and rewards and promotions because that person does this so well. I told you about the mentor that I had who taught me how to think. I said, teach me your strategic thinking, being anticipatory. Go back and watch that video. Being anticipatory was at the heart of what he taught me to do. Because people like to deal with the problem in front of them, not what's coming ahead. What's 2, 4, 6 months down the road? What's 18 months down the road? Now, look, you may say, Cicely, these are really hard. They're not. They're really not. I could literally walk you through them in depth and how to do them in a 25-minute, 30-minute call. They're not hard, but they're pieces of a larger whole you have to master to stand out and excel in your career. Number 4, I'm going to get to your comments in just a moment. Number 4 is one you know. Number 4 is one you know. It's your presence. If you're showing up going through the motions every day, you're not going to stand out because you seem disengaged. You seem like you don't care. If you're just going through the motions and checking the box, that is not the way to stand out at work or in your industry or in your career. You got to go the extra mile. And how you show up matters. And listen, we all have a bad day. I used to tell my team, it's one of those days, right? Like we all have those days. You got to give yourself some grace and give everybody else some grace. Everybody has those days. But how you show up on a consistent basis matters. Your presence, if you walk in a room and sit in the back, I'm going to ask you to do this for the next week. Sit at the table. Are you on a Zoom call? Turn your camera on. Be engaged. Show up. Do the work. Be prepared to engage in conversation. How you show up matters, and I hate to tell you this, but people notice. When I was at Dunkin' years ago, I thought you had to wear a suit every day. And plus that was just me. I'd worked on Capitol Hill, just came over to Dunkin', and so all I had were suits. To this day, I still don't own a pair of jeans because I've always had jobs where I couldn't wear jeans. So I mean suits and business casual are pretty much my attire, except for the Nike shirt, sorry. But I had a colleague come up to me, and this has stuck with me, and she said to me, "Why are you always in a suit?" She said, people comment that you always show up in a suit. You always show up looking very professional. Why do you do that? And I said to her, that's kind of second nature to me. Plus, I thought that was kind of a requirement of the job. But that's kind of second nature to me. Like how I show up matters, how I present myself matters. But it was a conversation, I won't go through all of it, that has stuck with me for the past 15 years. People pay attention to how you show up. You have to pay attention to your presence and how you show up as well. Number 5, and I know we're rounding out here. I know this is a long video, so thanks for hanging with me. Number 5 is one you know, and it's one I addressed last week in another video. By the way, all of these videos I'm talking about are on my YouTube channel. Jump over there, hit subscribe, and I think, I don't know, what are there, 50, 60 videos already on my YouTube channel? There's tons of information over there. Jump over there and check it out. Number 5 is our relationships. Holy cow, my handwriting's atrocious. Sorry, I'll go back to handwritten. I'll go back to typed graphics next week. Relationships. Now, people often think to excel, you have to focus on the internal relationships around you and your company, and that's true. But the external relationships are equally as important. And as we talked about in a video, was it Monday or even last Thursday? Re-engaging and leveraging your network inside the company and outside your company is absolutely critical. It's critical. You have to be able to establish relationships, work with different kinds of people. I just did a coaching session last week with my clients on how to deal with difficult personalities. You have to be able to master relationships and be comfortable working with different kinds of people, but also be comfortable reaching out to people who aren't like you. Establishing those relationships in a cross-functional way internally, but also working externally to build your network is another tactic for how you stand out at work and in your industry. I see a ton of comments coming in. I'm going to wrap up, I promise. All right. Number 6. I did this in a video, maybe it was last week. Sorry, my videos are running together. Again, it's on the YouTube channel. Communication. Communication, communication, communication. It was actually, I think it was Monday. It was the words you should not use in your vocabulary. And I gave you a list. If you use those words in your vocabulary, then you're showing up unprofessional. You seem very unprofessional, very unsure of yourself. Your communication, both verbal and written, matters. And probably a month ago, I did a video for you all on how to structure a business email, a business request. Your communication is an age-old adage, I guess, or an old cliche that still matters to this day. How you communicate verbally as well as written is key. So if you need to practice public speaking, you got to go stand in the mirror. You got to get on the phone with somebody like me and let's role play. Because public speaking and how you show up in front of a group matters. Now, you remember my story about being at Dunkin', I would take tons and tons of notes. I didn't know what I was talking about because I was new to the restaurant industry, but I would also write down for the meeting the next day I was preparing for. I wrote down my talking points. It's okay to do that if you're not comfortable or if you're still working on your communication skills. Write down your points. That is perfectly fine, and then rehearse them. That's okay. Look, we've all been there. We've all done that. And that takes time and work, but that's where you have to start to make sure you're honing your communication skills, the way you need to. Now, number seven is actually, I saved the best for last. If you've read my book, this is the I in the word chair. This is truly, you want to talk about the one gold nugget? You want to talk about if you ignore all, what? There we go. If you ignore the other seven, the other six, number seven's the one you got to do. Being a person of impact. Now listen, and I'm not going to get started on this. It's in the book and I'm coaching this next week, so I'm not going to go too far into depth here. Influence is temporary. Impact is lasting. You want to be a person of impact. Now, these other six certainly play into the impact you're having, but there are also specific language cues and ways that you can show up to be a person of impact. So, if you've read the book or if you've heard these videos, then you know I always say your differentiators, what you bring to the table gets you to the table. Impact is what keeps you there. You want to excel and stand out in your industry, be a person of impact. Now, that's where me talking to you on the phone or a Zoom call, I got to get into your particulars to help you understand what a person of impact means for you, because that can go a lot of different ways depending on what industry you're in and what you're seeking to achieve. So let me just scroll down so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 proven tips that will help you stand out in your career, in your industry, that will help you excel at what you're doing. I know I went through those very quickly. I know that's a very high level recitation, but the connect.cicely.me, look, let's just, or do like the person did who reached out to me for coffee. That person sent me a note on LinkedIn. The person I have a call with in a few minutes reached out to me on LinkedIn. If you're on YouTube or LinkedIn this morning or one of the other socials, just send me a message. I respond, and I'm happy to talk to you that way. As well. So these are the 7 tips for you to stand out and excel. These are the 7 tips that should show up on that LinkedIn profile, that resume, in the interview. Talk to Eileen about that because she's in the chat. These are the 7 tips you need to excel. So now my question to you as I jump over to comments, what's holding you back? You got the 7 tips right in front of you. I'm happy to walk you through them on a call. So what's going to hold you back? I'm giving you the roadmap. Are you going to follow it?